Alright guys, so welcome again to another pre-event pep talk. Thank you so much for joining us here. It means a lot to me, and it definitely feels good to see. I think we're growing in numbers. We're a little bit short this time, and I think the reason might be because many people have sold ShineGreymon burst mode short, which I don't think is fair. I think there's quite a bit of AoE stigma within the community, and I think that's largely in part due to, now please don't take offense to anyone, but we're listening to a lot of other voices, and we're hearing a lot of other people say that AoEs are bad. They're not as strong as single target moves. The spread moves aren't good. But if you added up the damage even from a basic spread move, 250 times 3 is 750, which is technically more damage than 500. Granted, it is spread, but there's give and take, and that kind of balances the game. But before I harp, let's go ahead and have proper introductions. I think I already thank you guys for joining, so that's fantastic. Again, it is a closed mic event. It seems like many of you guys are already familiar with that format and have turned your mics off already. We're definitely going to have time, we'll try to have time for questions at the end, so if you have anything specific that you want me to answer, go ahead and send me a direct message and then include @mintb. That way I can find it and it doesn't get lost. And I guess we'll just jump into it and get started. So first up on our list, a few of you have asked me to cover the Taipei Game Show announcement, and I will do so, but lightly. I'm a fact checker, and I really love to fact check, and something made me a little bit uncomfortable, and that's that when I reverse image searched the picture from Greymon.net, it came up with 0 results, and that makes me a little bit skeptical. I think the image might be from the stream, though, so that might be why it's posted nowhere. So that is a little bit odd, but going with that, I will say that Greymon hasn't led us wrong so far. Greymon.net hasn't led us wrong so far. Please don't spam the chat with large images, and let's try to keep the conversation Digimon links oriented for at least the next 45 minutes or so. Thank you. Where's the button? Let me, I can't even find my down thumb. Okay. So yeah, let's keep it on Digimon links, please. And please try not to throw up large images. Thank you. Okay. So, my take on what Greymon has posted about the Taipei Game Show. Mirage Galgamon Burst Mode and Ravemon Burst Mode are coming soon. And I'm really going to take coming soon with a grain of salt. And the reason is, as many of you know, recently Rosemon Burst Mode has arrived. And I say that in quotations because that's what her banner says. It says has arrived. I know many a whale, and none of them have gotten Rosemon Burst Mode. And they've spent thousands of stones. So I'm kind of expecting, or I'll say half expecting, and I'll think of it as the glass half full, Ravemon Burst Mode to appear as a Digimon locked in one of those gambling banners as well. It might even appear alongside a Mirage Galgamon Burst event, just like our current ShineGreymon Burst Mode event had a Rosemon Burst Mode. For Ravemon Burst Mode, we do have to acknowledge that, like Rosemon or Rosemon, we've already had an event that featured him. Although he wasn't the main draw of the event, he did appear obtainable in the Strongest versus Strongest event, which actually happened not too long ago, just the same as Rosemon was available during the Advent Beginnings event. In addition to that, we've seen Ravemon featured in the quest ticket captures several times already, making his Burst Mode the most qualified Digimon to be put in a gacha. I haven't seen any Digimon look this gacha-able like ever. So, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I do hope I'm wrong. He's really cool. Then again, he's super strong, and I think he'll tip the meta, so maybe I want to wait to see him for, like, I don't know, a year more. I don't know. I have mixed feelings on him, but that's how I think it's going to present itself to us. Next up, there's Mastimon, or Mastimon, and it's stated that she'll arrive in February. I do expect her to see her sometime around Valentine's Day, possibly even coming up directly after this event. I am kind of bummed that we won't get to see Rosemon Burst Mode in this in February. I hear a little bit of a mic. I think it might be coming from, is that name Narf? Maybe it's not. I don't know. Well, it's gone now. I was really hoping that Rosemon Burst Mode would come to us in February. I feel like she's the perfect Valentine's Digimon. There's a little bit of an echo. If we can find that echo. Not that I don't like hearing myself. Just kidding. I actually don't really like hearing myself. If we can do some investigation together and figure out, I don't know. Okay, so it's from Flash. Flasfer33Z3. If I can get you, my friend, to go ahead and mute your mic, that would be amazing. I'd be amazed by it. I'd also be really thankful. Oh, awesome! Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate it. Okay, where were we? Okay, we were talking about Mastimon and Rosemon. We're probably not going to get her during February. Maybe we'll get her next year, as a Valentine's Digimon, but I'm not seeing it right now. And then lastly, we have Omegamon Zwart D, and I'm wondering if Bandai Namco is just feeling guilty over teasing us way too hard with the Brilliant Dragon Warrior event and introducing ShineGreymon. According to Growlmon.net's post, we can expect to see him in March, which means there's a strong chance that we'll get the Mirage Galgamon and Mirage Galgamon Burst Mode event before his release as well. So those are things to expect coming up on the horizon. I really do think that either the next event after this ShineGreymon Burst Mode event or the event after that will be Mastimon. Hopefully we get something kind of light, something bites oriented. Maybe get like a random Kentarusmon or like a Puppetmon event or something like that. That would be interesting. That would be fun. Before we get into stats, any questions yet on the Taipei Game Show or thoughts on Taipei Game Show? I'm seeing like a lot of people typing, but it must be like giant walls of text, because cheers for stones. Huh. Okay. Okay, so moving on to ShineGreymon and ShineGreymon Burst Mode. Before we get into the stats, we're going to talk a little bit about ShineGreymon's background. I feel like it's worth mentioning, and it's a little known fact that one of Bandai's favorite Greymons is actually ShineGreymon. Next to WarGreymon, of course, which is like the OG Greymon Mega. And as such, they have shown favor to him in games before, with him being one of the strongest Digimon in the previous Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth. So I kind of know that we shouldn't and can't expect anything less from him here in Lynx. If we reference the anime appearances, not counting WarGreymon X from the one-off X Evolution movie, and Emperor Greymon from Digimon Frontier, who's actually kind of a composite of multiple spirits, so he doesn't really count. And then Ancient Greymon, who's actually more akin to like a god or an elder dragon. I think it's fair to say that ShineGreymon, and even more so ShineGreymon Burst Mode, are the strongest Greymons accessible to the much-loved Agumon line. I think there's so much symbolism in ShineGreymon being the only light attribute Greymon, with his Burst Mode paying homage to the roots of the line and showing his fiery passion as like an eternal flame for personal justice type of deal. If you haven't already, I highly recommend you watch the anime Digimon Savers if you want to learn more about the 5 Digimon who have access to Burst Mode. And it's of course, ShineGreymon Burst Mode, there's Mirage Galgamon Burst Mode, Rosemon Burst Mode, and Ravemon Burst Mode, and there's one other, which I'll let you guys watch all the way through to find out. It's an incredibly good watch, and I myself have watched it start to finish, I think 3 times now. Crazy good, definitely one of my favorite Digimon series.
ShineGreymon! 仲間たちをこの世界を守る力を俺に貸してくれ！兄貴、
それは違うよ。ずっと一緒に戦ってきたからわかる。力は借りたり与えたりするものじゃない。
あ、そうだったな。力は借りたり与えたりするもんじゃない。力は合わせるもんだ。そうだな、シャイングレイモン。
人、必ずグラタを倒す。
世界を、仲間を守るんだ。この光は、その光に手をかざせ、マサル。行くぜ。チャージ。デジソウルブラスト。よくぞ極めたり大門勝る。そしてシャイングレイモンよ、二人の気持ちを一つにし、最強のデジソウルを激しく燃焼させ、究極体をも上回る最大の力を発揮させる。それこそが真のバーストモードだ。シャイングレイモンバーストモード。
犠牲になってきたデジモンたちのために、黒田に苦しめられたみんなのために。マサル、マサル。
大門マサル。
Let's see here. I guess talking a little bit more about ShineGreymon and his function in the game and where he can help you on your team. He's definitely one of the best AoE Digimon in the game. So if you don't already have an AoE Digimon, I do recommend him. When you are considering a AoE Digimon, you of course will get the most use out of them if you land, if you can land multiple hits, so hitting 2 or more of the targets. In some ways, this makes him better, or makes him a little bit worse than my other favorite AoE Digimon, like Lord Nightmon and Seraphimon, since they are light, since they can dual hit, or multi-hit rather, so their chances of missing the target completely is a lot less. I see someone saying that Burst Mode's kind of like a good finisher. A little sorta. I think he can definitely bark out a lot of heavy damage early on. Hopefully he lasts long enough to do it a second time, and that would be amazing. By going back to the comparison of the AoE Digimon, I think he's a little bit better than Lord Nightmon and Seraphimon, my two current favorites, because he's fire damage versus them being light and dark damage. And a lot of the PvP metagame is made up of light Digimon who have dark resist and dark Digimon who have light resist. So they're both frequently resisted. And then you can also compare him to my other favorite AoE Digimon in the game, Saint Galgamon or Mega Gargamon. But I think they serve a little bit of a different role. While ShineGreymon Burst Mode has less defenses, but higher attack and higher speed, Mega Gargamon has, higher defenses and less damage, of course. So his game is kind of sticking around and definitely doing it twice. Support Legacy, then hit last. That sounds cool. That sounds cool. I mean, like, if you guys want to put together, like, crazy strategies, maybe, like a Beelzemon would have, like, a lower defense all 5, and then you would follow it up with a ShineGreymon Burst Mode, Final Shining Burst. That would be cool. I could see that being very viable. Another thing you guys can think about and need to acknowledge, and not totally throw this Digimon in the basket. He's really good. Please respect him. Please love him. I think maybe I'm trying too hard to sell him, but he's very good, and if you are interested in getting an AoE Digimon at all, this is the one. But you can also give him a legacy skill, and I don't think people are talking about that. Everyone's so hooked up on his burst move, which is amazing, but people are saying, I don't like AoEs, so ShineGreymon Burst Mode's not for me. He has a very respectable attack stat at 6,676, and his speed is 186, so he's not slow by any means. Give him a legacy skill. Onasuna is saying that legacies are very hard to get. They are hard to get. So, maybe this comment is a little bit more directed at the at the whales. But, I know that some of you guys have been lucky and gotten, like, 5 legacy skills and things like that. And, the game is still young. I think that there will be moments later on where you'll definitely roll into a really nice Legacy 5 skill. And you can definitely put that on ShineGreymon Burst Mode, and he'll wear it proudly. He will. If we compare him to other AoE Digimon, so we have ShineGreymon Burst Mode with a speed of 186 and a physical attack of 6,676. He has the move Final Shining Burst, which does 400 damage to all enemies at the cost of lowering this Digimon's attack. You're going to lower his attack. It's going to be lowered for like 3 turns, so your basics are going to do reduced damage. Who cares? I don't know why people get so hung up on about that. It's kind of strange. His basics are going to be reduced, but your basics are like 100 to 300 damage anyway, so I don't see why it's a big deal. You'll likely have your full attack stat back by the time that you're able to skill again, if not 1 turn after that. I think he's worth a look. Again, you can also attach a legacy skill to him. Then we have Seraphimon, who does 3 hits of, I think, 120, so that's 360 damage off of his special attack of 5,360. He's slowly starting to get outdated. I can still see some use for him. but I don't think he compares to things like Lord Nightmon, even though they do belt out the same 360. Lord Nightmon's special attack is much higher, sitting at a 6,190, and she has, or he has, the ability to hit 4 times. So while it's still like about 360 added up, 90 times 4, you do have more of a chance to crit. And that is where maybe ShineGreymon Burst Mode does fall a little bit behind the other AoE hitters, is that he doesn't have the multi-hit. So he's not going to be a crit machine like Lord Nightmon, who I considered to be the crit machine AoE version of Beelzemon. You also have other things like Metal Garurumon Black with their Ice Wolf Claw, which does 130 times 2, which is 260. I think also in that basket there's Gallantmon, and I thought there was one more. I guess Metal Garurumon, the regular one, as well. Craniumon is on the horizon, and he's very physically tanky, and he has the skill End Waltz, which is like a nature version of Lord Nightmon's skill, Spiral Masquerade. And then I guess I'll mention Mega Gargomon, who is ShineGreymon Burst Mode's, I guess, more relevant competition, because he's fire damage as well. His special is Burst, or his signature move is Burst Shot, which is 120 times 3, so that does hit for 360. But again, his game is to be more tanky. He has a defense of 5,800 and a special defense of 5,767. His attack, though, is quite a bit lower, coming in only around 5,006. I see Prince is mentioning Dynasmon AoE, and Smouse is a big fan of Mega Gargomon. He has a really nice Mega Gargomon. Dynasmon does have an AoE. I think it's is it 370? Let me figure out what the damage on Dynasmon AoE is. Oh no, it might be like is it 370? No, 270. 270. 270. It's 270. Thank you, Adabunny, or Adaboon, for the note there. 90 accuracy, a little bit lower than standard. So he's very much similar to, like, I think Omegamon and Omegamon Zwart with their Transcendent Sword. I don't really count them. I think they're not to be hurtful, but I think they're not good enough. They kind of fall in the same basket as things like Phoenixmon, who before her V2 won't be too impressive. Moving on, some downsides when you're considering ShineGreymon Burst Mode to other AoE Digimon is, I guess we already covered it, but he's not a multi-hit AoE. So if you miss on a target, you do miss like that whole target. Whereas with something like Lord Nightmon, you're gonna chip no matter what. But there's a possibility for you to whiff 2 of them and only hit 1 target. There's also a possibility for you to whiff all 3 targets and do 0 damage, because the accuracy isn't the best. Let's see here. Another thing to consider is he is much like the other hyper-offensive Digimon of the current meta, and he does have those marred or handicapped defensive stats, and they are very reminiscent of other popular Digimon such as Beelzemon and Belphemon. Belphemon Rage Mode specifically. Belphemon Rage Mode's special defense is 3,973, and Beelzemon's special defense is 4,056, in comparison to ShineGreymon Burst Mode's special defense of 4,321. So it's slightly better, but it's still not a good look. Again, though, he does have that speed. His defense is pretty passable at 4,969. You might even consider that to be on the higher end. I hear a little bit of a mic coming off. Let's investigate where that came from. I guess it's back off. Cool. I'll take it. And then ShineGreymon's handicap or drawback, if you will, of him having his attack stat reduced for 3 turns is something else that I do want you guys to consider. Although it's not going to hold the Digimon back at all, I don't think. Or rather, I don't want to say at all, a ton. If you do land a critical hit, you will still maybe want to wait for his full damage. So if you get a critical hit, you'll maybe get 1 extra AP, and then his skill will be ready possibly before his attack debuff is up. You can either take that and do the 200 damage from the debuff version, or you can wait 1 turn and do the 400 damage. With that said, if you do it once and it's 400 damage, and then you do it the second time and you get a crit, so you do it early and it's 200 damage, 400 plus 200 is still 600, which is more than the traditional 250 plus 250 going twice. So that's something I want you guys to consider. I think he's still a great Digimon, and if you're a whale out there, I think he's a must-have for you, definitely, because you likely have some legacy skills to throw on him. But still, I think if you are up to the event and you have Digimon that are equipped to handle the event, and you feel like comfortable with your chip and you have enough time during the week, he's the AoE Digimon to have. He's the multi-hit Digimon to have. If this isn't too much fanboyishness, his skill looks amazing. Final Shining Burst looks amazing. If they take the graphic from, or the animation from Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, it looks so cool. I'll definitely shove Gallantmon Crimson mode aside and say it looks much cooler than that. It looks so cool. So, you know, if maybe you just want to get like a +0 or something just because you want to see it look so cool, you can do that. With that said, don't go into this event getting a +1 or a +2 or anything like that. Don't do it. It's a genuine waste of time. I'm not saying that to hurt feelings. It's just a solid waste of time. You can be doing other things. I would recommend, if you aren't able to and don't have the capacity of either time, Digistones, money, chip, what have you, to do this upcoming event, stick to the Brilliant Dragon Warrior event. Go get more ShineGreymon shards or fragments. He's a good Digimon. He's still a good Digimon. He's not amazing, but he's not horrible. Let's talk a little bit about what gives you bonus points. Oh, well, before I move on, this is a whale event. Ragnarok says, so this is a whale event. Is that what you're saying? I think this event does favor whales, but it also favors those who work hard and know what they're doing. Again, if you're a new player, you might not know what you're doing, so you might not fall into that category. And I think it's definitely the shininess of wordplay. The shininess of ShineGreymon Burst Mode might attract you newer players. Please don't waste time with it, though. Don't waste stones buying a chip. If you don't have any +2 or higher Digimon, you really shouldn't be in this event. You shouldn't. You're going to struggle too badly. Let's talk about what gives you bonus points. There are the Extreme Blazing Point Specialty chips, which a lot of you have pulled already. Kind of shook me. Kind of triggered me a little bit, but I understand. There's a lot of excitement. The C chip gives you 1.5 times, so an extra 50% of points. The B chip giving you an extra ×3 of points, and the A chip giving you an extra ×6 of points. This is one of those events where the chip differentiation is really, really vivid and super stark. With the C chip not even giving you double points, the B chip skipping away at ×3, and then the A chip giving you ×6 points. Meaning that someone with like one A chip, I think, might even be able to outdo a full team of C chips. I'm unsure though. I think that's actually completely wrong, so don't quote me on that. Groundmon will definitely have a an event point calculator later on, so go ahead and do that. I see someone saying no chip. Don't no chip. Spankings for everyone who does no chip. You also get bonus points for each Rosemon Burst Mode, and ShineGreymon in your party, in addition to getting bonus points for not dying. Unless it's absolutely necessary, do not revive. This is definitely where being a part of a Discord group has a huge advantage. I do believe that many solo players who are going to be running with random groups may overlook this detail and cost you a lot of points. So with that said, I definitely think you guys should just stick to the Discord room for this event. You don't want to be losing points because someone prematurely revives. And, you know, maybe if you have stones, it might even be faster to just throw the event if somebody revives early on, depending on how much points it costs you. Also, definitely communicate. Please communicate while you're playing in the event co-op room, and let your teammates know when you need them to revive and when you want them to absolutely not revive. I think a safe way to operate is to just not revive unless you know for sure that your team will wipe, or if someone asks you to. This is definitely another good time to mention that if you have not already, please go pick up an Extreme Blazing Status Specialty Chip B from the Brilliant Dragon Warrior Event Exchange. It will cost you only 90 bytes for 6 chips, each 6 C chips. Each C chip will cost you 15 bytes for the first 7. You can combine those 6 C chips to make a B extra attack, a B chip, and that will give you extra attack and special attack damage. And if you are a Rosemon or Rosemon Burst Mode, it will additionally give you extra special defense and physical defense as well. Do not forget to get that chip. I recommend to get a B chip. A chip is very expensive. I think 1 or 2 you might have an A chip. It's kind of creepy to me, TBH. Because you probably could have bought 21 ShineGreymon fragments with that. But, you know, to each their own. Who is this event for? Serena has Heaven Thunder 4 with, does she have an A chip? Maybe she has an A chip. Oh, that chip, that status up chip is not the point chip. Do not mistake that for the point chip. While I don't think any of you in here have mistaken that for a point chip, I see it all the time. I see it on Reddit. It triggers me so much. The status up chip from the Brilliant Dragon Warrior Exchange is not an event point chip. It does not replace an event point chip. With that said, I think it also might give players that super effective icon in the lobby. So go ahead and flip through if you are randomly playing with public rooms or random rooms. Go ahead and flip through with the switch button and see to make sure that they're actually carrying a point chip and not just that status up chip, because there are a few tricksters out there that will do it. Adabunny is noting that if you click the super effective icon, it tells you what they have. I'm still unsure if it's Adabunny or like Adabune, Adabunny. You go ahead and type it down below. The Adabunny. Okay, perfect. I nailed it. I've been doing it correctly. All right. Oh, somebody's saying that they're using their alt to host for the Brilliant Dragon Warrior. I think that's a great idea. Moving on. Who is this event for? I don't want to sound like a bad guy, but I might, so I'm prefacing this. This event is only for the players who either have enough time to grind to get under 2,500 points with a C chip, or have an A chip or a B chip. This event is also insanely difficult and borderline impossible if you are using an unawakened Digimon. This means that if you're a new player, you likely have no place in this event. Ragnarok is saying, too late, Min B. You sounded like a bad guy. Adabunny is saying that people with less than +3 are definitely going to struggle as well. I think he's true. Smouse is saying, like, you could put it more bluntly. Blizzarga is saying only for chips players. Definitely, all these things are true. If you are going to try to run this event without a chip, I'm letting you know, you should expect the hate. The hate's coming for you. Someone's asking me if +4 Dynasmon is good this time. Just so I can clear the air on this, for any future events, until boss Digimon start resisting null damage, Dynasmon will be relatively good for each event. I get asked that question. I got asked that question last time, and it felt so weird. But we're seeing the trend of final bosses in the intense difficulties only taking neutral damage to their weaknesses. So that does put the null Digimon on par with what would be normally super effective Digimon. I think Dynasmon is very relevant, and you know, if you have the super cheap version of Dynasmon, which I think is like Prince Mamamon. You can use him too. There's also Justimon, but don't use him because you'll be disappointed. Let's see here. Let me get back to my rant. If you're a new player, you again likely have no place in this event. And while we're on this topic, if you can't maintain yourself under the 2,500 mark, do not play the event. There's no point in having a +2 or +1 ShineGreymon burst mode, as in the long run, you're going to have to reset it to make it a proper +4 Digimon, whatever species that may be. Don't make a +2 or don't make a +3. That's going to give me a rash or something. Somebody's going to make a +3 ShineGreymon burst mode, and I'm going to have to see a doctor for it. But don't do that. Yeah, I'm going to get a rash. Like, I might break out in... I might break out in, I don't know, Rage Nerd or something. Yeah, and it'll be really serious. You guys won't see me. You'll have to send me postcards or something. Let's see. I guess to kind of backtrack a little bit, new players, I still love you very much. Minby loves you. Minby always loves. Fun fact, Minby always loves you. Unless you're a rapist. Well, maybe I still love you, I just don't love the things you do. Different topic, ethics. But, fear not, my new and possibly unawakened players. The previous ShineGreymon event of the Brilliant Dragon Warrior is still running for another week, and ShineGreymon is still a pretty great Digimon. He's not the best, he's not the worst. He does have a decently high attack stat, as a free-to-play Digimon. People are commenting that I love. Yep, I do love. I always loves. But he's a really good Digimon because he wears that dark resistance very well, the regular ShineGreymon. And he does come with that Geo Grey Sword, which is super effective most of the time to Abyss Digimon. So I think he's a great Abyss Digimon counter. And you aren't wasting your time if you're a newer player and you're collecting 21 fragments of him. You're not wasting your time. I think he's very relevant. And he's definitely a good pick. Someone has a +3 ShineGreymon that they might play, that they might use in the event. I think it's Jax. That sounds good. Smouse is saying, I love me a good host. So maybe he's hinting if you host, he'll take you or something like that. I guess I'll talk about the blazing difficulty because I saw that question. I think it's relevant. I will get the rest of the questions later. Don't worry if I haven't mentioned your question yet. But the blazing difficulty, I think, might be a solo event, solo mission. It's going to come up once a day. I think you can do it once a day. You don't have to wait like the strongest versus strongest thing where it popped up randomly throughout the day. But it's just a hunch that it's a solo mission. Either way, even if it's solo or co-op, I guess, be prepared for it to be super hard. Maybe you'll have to spend stones to revive. Maybe you don't want to spend stones to revive because you might lose points for doing so. I don't know. It gets sketchy. I think it's really hardcore. I definitely think you'll be able to complete the event even if you don't do these solo ones. But do keep in mind that you might be sacrificing too much points by reviving. I don't know. I don't know what the points look like from it. But my expectations are that the blazing difficulty is going to be a once per day solo event. Solo mission, rather. Do I have any questions so far that you guys feel like would slip in well here? You can just throw up some quick questions in the help center room. I'll give you guys maybe 30 seconds or so. I'm pretty excited for this event. ShineGreymon Burst Mode is a very good AoE Digimon. I think many people discount him because he's an AoE Digimon. 400 is just 100 behind a single target attack of 500. Meaning that 400 times 3 is 1,200 or 1,200, however you want to call it. That's a ton of damage. It's a ton of damage. Gamer J has thrown up a decent question. What's a good resistance to give ShineGreymon Burst Mode? In the future, Tiger Vestimon is going to become a real problem. He's going to be such a real problem. He's going to be there. He's or her, she, maybe it's a she. I don't know if you guys play Hacker's Memory or whatever. Maybe it's a she. But Tiger Vestimon is basically Beelzemon's cousin with a little bit of less attack and is going to do tons of damage. People are asking, oh, Adam Bunny is saying, yeah, water or electric. For me, I'm going to put electric on mine. Don't just put electric on yours because I said I'm going to put electric on mine. I think water is still very relevant and will be more relevant for most of the co-op or player versus element content. But because I'm concerned about Tiger Vestimon, I'm probably going to put electric on mine. We will get more water Digimon eventually. There's just such a shallow pool of them. There's already Leviamon +4s out there, so that's something to think about as well. So right now there is a water threat for him. There's also Omegamon Zwarts out there with that Supreme Cannon that hits pretty hard, and especially on his low 4,300 defense. Let's see here. Let's talk a little bit about the waves that are coming up. They're going to be Fire Digimon, I believe. Haven't seen them yet, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be Fire Digimon. So you should bring maybe Water and Electric type damage. I guess Water Digimon that I could recommend. Leviamon, if you were able to buy the Digivolve Boost Packs. Metal Seedramon, if you were able to buy the Digivolve Boost Packs. If you made a single target Omegamon Zwart, you have Supreme Cannon at your disposal. And maybe you even have that Fire Resist in there too. That'd be cool. There's also Metal Garurumon Black with AoE, the Ice Wolf Claw. I don't think there are too many of them out there, but hey, they're relevant. Yay! So that's I think 130 times 2 to all targets if it doesn't miss. There's also Plesiomon or Plesiomon if you have done the Plesiomon event from way back, and Vikemon if you have done Advent Beginnings. For the electric types, there's Ebamon, Hercules Kabuterimon if you did Advent Beginnings from the launch of the game. There's Hyandramon. There's Machinedramon, maybe? Actually, I won't count him too much because he was only available in a... what is it called? In one of those banner things. People are throwing up random sea creatures like whales, crabs. Crab, just one crab. One crab. Ravemon is an AoE electric Digimon that you could make it +4, and he might do some damage, maybe. I don't know, he could paralyze someone. Fun fact, fire types are not only, or blazing tribes are not only weak to the electric of Ravemon, the regular one, but also they're susceptible to paralysis most of the time. So maybe that's a viable strategy. Who knows? I'm sure someone will try it out there. It could be cool. And then for your null types, I think my favorite null type damages are going to be Dynasmon, Boltmon, Metal Garurumon Black with Guru Tomahawk, and Prince Mamamon is out there as well. Of course, my usual disclaimer applies. When forming parties in the co-op event room, please be mindful of your damage type, and when you post your room number, it would be helpful if you could post what damage type you are, or what Digimon you are, rather. That way you guys don't wind up forming a party that is totally going to wipe, or most people are going to wipe 2 out of the 3, and then you guys are going to either have to revive and lose points, or you may not make it through the waves at all. But something new that I'd like to mention is to make sure that you attach the event name to the room numbers, so that if you are posting in the co-op room, or the co-op event room, can't speak tonight, so it should say something like Brilliant Dragon Warrior Expert 1 2 3 4 5 6, or Extreme Blazing Intense 6 5 4 3 2 1. You know, so do note the type of event, because there are 2 events running right now. Please be specific. It's gonna confuse people. You're gonna get mix-ups. Say Brilliant Dragon Warrior if it's Brilliant Dragon Warrior. Say Extreme Blazing if it's Extreme Blazing. And do delineate if it's Expert, Intense, Hard, Easy. You shouldn't need help for Easy. That's kind of weird. And, of course, after this pre-event pep talk, if you're still unsure if you should be participating in this event, go ahead and have a run through the first few levels. Maybe even wait for Growlmon to post up their point calculator. Event point calculator? Point event calculator. Yikes. That dyslexia is showing up in full form tonight. But they will have an event calculator. So maybe you want to wait till that. Don't play this event if you're going to make a +2 or a +1. Don't do that. We're running out of time, so I'm going to go ahead and jump into questions now. First, I will take the questions from my inbox, my direct messages. Then I will move on to the questions here. So don't post questions in the help center room just yet. I'm going to quickly go through these questions. Zindy wants to know, am I the prettiest? I don't know. Are you? It's possible. Let me know. Smouse is saying to just deafen myself. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, maybe just deafen myself with my voice earlier? I don't know. You guys seem to be surviving just fine, though, so maybe my ears will just bleed a little bit. I probably won't go deaf. Dark Wrath can hear me. Some of these questions aren't questions. Give me a sec while I read through these. Some of these might actually not be questions. You know, I'll read some of them that are not questions anyway. Zega posted, I'm a C-chip, and they're wondering if I pulled. I did not pull yet, because I like to wait till after the pre-event pep talks to decide if it's right for me to pull or not. Sometimes I need to sell myself on an event as well. He also posted this little, like, flexing arm, which I like. I don't know if it's like a guy in ears or if it's guy in biceps. I hope it's biceps. I'm into biceps. There you guys go. You can enjoy that. Kaylee's is asking, oh, great question. This might be my favorite question today. Very nice. I'm going to throw a thumb on that, and I'm going to pin this. Kaylee's is asking if we get ShineGreymon frags from the Extreme Blazing event or just Burst Mode ones. You do get simultaneously with the prizes, you do get ShineGreymon regular fragments and ShineGreymon Burst Mode fragments. But that is only enough to Digivolve a +4 ShineGreymon, I believe. So you might need an additional 21 fragments. Someone did @MintB. So they said, yes, after... Ragnarok says, yes, after Kappa prizes, you will get ShineGreymon frags. With expansion packs. Wow, check that out. Burst Mode has no need for regular ShineGreymon from Yato. Interesting. Alright, guys. So, I believe that about wraps it up. I want to give you guys time to go ahead and buy your chips if you want to buy your chips. Think about the event a little bit more. Convince yourself. Have yourselves a fantastic day either way. And don't forget to, I love you.